All right. Welcome to another episode of Levi in the Closet. Thank you guys for checking out my videos. Before I get into it, my last video, it was the Cheetos mac and cheese review. It's got over 140 views on it now. My goal was 30, and man, that really exceeded my expectations. I'm so grateful to all you guys that checked it out. I did get a like and I got a comment on there, so if that was you, thank you so much. I appreciate it for the interaction. So, yeah, I just wanted to say thank you before I started out this video. I really appreciate it. And also, if you're liking my content or if you want to see more and, just give me a little bit of encouragement, like and comment on the video or even subscribe. And you can follow me on Instagram at Levi Acid if you want to message me with any questions or topics you want to see me speak on in future videos. So with that being said, my item of the day, it's not a clothing item, but this is something that I recently got. It is a Moleskine notebook. It's pretty neat. It's got these pages here and it's got an empty spot here for like if you want to, I guess, make notes, or like in my case I was thinking I could do little illustrations because I'm working on a novel, and I originally wanted it to be a manga or manga if you want to be PC with the how you say it, but yeah, it's got these nice margins here like if you want to make extra notes or anything like that. Really nice paper. I got two of them. It came in a 2-pack, and I've seen these before in, just online, I guess, and I'm seeing people talking about Moleskine and how great of a brand it is, and now I finally found them for a cheap price, so I got them and picked them up. I use this one specifically for journaling. I've gone through, like, only been a couple days. I don't journal every single day, but, I've been writing a little bit in here. I try to do 3 pages a day. I saw that it was recommended by J. Cole, and it was also out of this book. I can't remember what the name of the book was, but they recommended writing 3 pages a day at the beginning of the day. Usually that's like when I'm in a hurry getting ready for work, so I don't really have time for that, or I don't make time for that. But, I am trying, when I do journal, I try to write at least 3 pages, get all my thoughts out there, what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling. And it's kind of just a good outlet, and also just kind of a new creative way for me to express my thoughts and how I feel, which I do recommend that you journal. And before I thought, oh, this really doesn't make sense, like just talking about my day, I'd just be like, oh, this is what I did today and blah blah blah. But really, I think it's just kind of getting it out of my system, because I see it as like a man, there's not a lot of people to talk to about how you feel, or in my case, I don't feel like it's really relevant. Like just telling somebody like, oh, this is what I'm dealing with, blah blah blah, like, for one, that doesn't help them, especially if it's something that's really, weighing on my mind or something like that. And I don't think it's good to project that onto anybody else. Like if I'm with somebody, like especially if you're dating somebody and you come home and complain to them all the time. I talked about this in my Should I Stay With My High School Sweetheart video. But I used to do that a lot. I would project my, my emotions onto my girlfriend at the time, and I don't feel like that was healthy, and I should have just processed that on my own. Or like maybe sometimes it's okay to talk to other people about what you're dealing with for that fellowship, and like maybe they can offer you some perspective or some advice, or just kind of be there to give you some to console you, I guess you could say. But yeah, I think it's good for me because I'm such a thinker, like a deep thinker. I overthink sometimes, but it's just a way of getting that out and letting it go and letting it be in the past. And I can look back at it and, oh yeah, I remember this. Or like some of the things are relevant that I feel like other people, if they had read this or if they do read my journal, that you can learn something from it. I'm not going to share anything out of here, but I do feel like it's a good way to kind of get that out. And for me, just not just, stay thinking about that all the time. Just get over it, let it go. And, but yeah, you can use a notebook for anything. I think it's good to just have, because I have tons of notebooks. I use them for different things, like journaling, or, writing different things. One's for like my music, like all my lyrics that I have, or like one of them is for the novel I'm writing, or this one for my journaling. I have so many notebooks, and a lot of them I haven't gotten rid of. I've held on to nearly all the notebooks that I kept because I feel like that's just part of my my past experience, and I can't really bring myself to get rid of that. But anyway, I don't really have a specific title for this. I'll probably think of one when I put the video up, but just what I've been thinking about lately has been, should I get in a physical altercation? I journaled about this a little bit too. Should I get in a physical altercation, or what is it that leads up to that. I've never been in a fight before with anybody. Like I've sparred with my friend, like we'd physically be like hitting each other and like punching each other and deflecting and stuff, but not with the intent of like hurting each other or trying to lay each other out or anything. It was more for like practice or just kind of like, sparring, but I've never gotten in a physical fight where it's like I'm really trying to injure this person or they're really trying to hurt me. But there are times, sometimes when I feel like it could get to that point, and I feel like it's up to me more than it is to the other person. I don't know if they're aware of it, but it's more up to me to just kind of calm things down or figure out like, okay, I just need to take a step back and say whatever, like you do your thing, I really don't care, or just talk it through. I think that's the first step, in a physical, or like before it gets physical. Like if you're ever in an argument with somebody or you feel like somebody's kind of like attacking you, pressing on you, use your words first. And that's what I've always tried to do, is just kind of talk it through, or just be like, yo, why are you, like, what are you doing, like if something happens, or like, hey, stay away from my girl, like a guy a long time ago, I haven't had to do this anytime recently, but he was getting like up on my girl, and I was just like, hey man, back off, I'm her boyfriend. Or, my girlfriend and her sister were there, and this drunk guy comes over and he's like hitting on him. I'm like, hey man, back off, this is my girlfriend, this is her sister, just back off, And then he did, and luckily it didn't become like a big ordeal. Like he wasn't like, oh man, you're trying to fight and blah blah blah. Like, that just kind of did the trick. And I found that usually helps. Like if I just say like, what I'm thinking first, instead of just automatically just like grabbing him, like not even touching him, just being like, hey man, like just like, what's up? Like, why are you acting like this? Like, you're being a dick, you're being an a-hole. Just, what's, what's your problem, Um, and the reason why this is on my mind, because I was at the bar the other night, and there's this guy, I saw him before, and this is something that's really, made me feel guilty in a way. It was when I first moved out here to South Dakota. There's a bar in my town. I've talked about this too in previous videos, but there's a small town bar. It's on the corner. And I was there with one of my cousins, and she was, introducing me to people, and this guy comes in, he's probably had a couple drinks, and she's like, oh, this is my cousin. I was like, yep, and I love my cousin, and you don't mess with her, and because she was saying, don't mess with him, be nice to him, and I was like, oh, this is my cousin too, don't mess with her. And he got her in a headlock, and I thought that was just so weird, and like now I think back on that, I was like, I should have said something, like I should have, but I was just like, I'm new to this town. I don't exactly know the dynamic here. Like maybe this is just normal for them, like I was very like I had to kind of separate myself. I was like, is this something okay? Or do I say something and then like automatically like this is my first time here, and then this is how people see me, is like, oh, he's the guy that got in a fight at the bar, but like he had it's a girl, my female cousin, has her in a headlock, and I was just like looking at him, and I was just like, dude, really? Are you serious right now? And then like when he let off, I eventually did, but I was just like, I felt like he was just trying to show like his dominance in a way or something, but at the same time I was like, I don't really know what to do. And now I think about it, I should have just said something. I've been like, yo, back off, like not necessarily go straight to physical contact, but like just said something first. And so that's, something I felt guilty about. But I digress. I saw this guy at the bar again the other night. It was the same guy. And I'm sitting there, I'm at the other side of the bar. He gets up, and it looks like he's about to leave. He buys like a 12-pack of beers. He got a cigarette in his mouth. He goes out to smoke. And there's a guy there that I knew. So I went and I, took that seat, and I sat next to the guy. We were having a conversation. And so when the guy comes back in, he comes over and he's like, oh, hey, yeah, I know you. And I'm like, oh, yeah, you're, I'm not going to say his name, but I was like, oh, hey, yeah, I know you too. And so like we shake hands and everything, and he just keeps like punching me in the arm, like not hard, but like just like boom, slugging me in the arm, boom, slugging me in the arm. He puts on his gloves and he's like, give me the peace sign. He's like, see this? This means peace. This means peace. And I was like, yeah, well, double peace, man. I'm all about the peace, all about the love. I don't want to get in any fights here. But then he just kept like, bam, punch me in the arm, bam, punch me in the arm, bam, punch me in the arm. And I was like, why? Like, you said you're all about peace. You give me the peace sign. Then you keep punching me in the arm. And he's like, well, if I really wanted to punch you, you'd know it. And then I was just like, dude, what the heck? And then like, he said some other stuff I'm not going to repeat, but it was just very like, I felt like he was trying to egg me on or something. And maybe he wasn't, but that's that's how I felt. And again, like debating, like, should I, do something to this guy? But at the same time, it's enough that I can just let it go. I'm not going to hold it against anybody. He had a couple drinks, and I'm not about getting into violence if I don't have to. Like, if he had, done something that, it became like I have to defend myself, or like I felt like he was really threatening or attacking me, then yes, I might have done something. But, for the most part, like I said, I just try to, talk it out first. Like what I said to him, I was just like, yo, why do you keep punching me in the arm? And like, it didn't hurt, but like I could tell, like he just kept punching me in the same spot over and over and over again. And maybe that's just a guy thing, like, like punching each other or something. I think that's the stupidest thing ever. Like, I'm not very physical. I don't like when people touch me. I've never, like I've tried to break myself out of the box of like, when you go up to somebody, like you touch them on the back, just be like, hey man, how's it going? Whatever, like I'm just starting to do that because I've never felt like I want to physically touch anybody. That's just not my style. I digress. But yeah, so I feel like there's a lot of times like that, and maybe if you're another man like me, you've experienced this, or maybe you have gotten to that point where it did get physical. But I'm just trying to say, if you have or if you haven't, just from here on out, just think about it. Like, how can I talk about this through my words, or talk it out before it gets physical? And then what are my intentions? Like if they're threatening somebody I care about, or if they're threatening me, then yes, it will happen, or it's a possibility of it happening, and I'm prepared for that. But that's not initially what I'm going to go to. I'm not immediately looking for a fight. Everybody that comes up to me and like says something mean to me or whatever, I'm not looking for a fight. I want to diffuse the situation, just kind of get out of there, back out. And I don't think that's a beta male thing to do. I think that's the best thing to do in my opinion, because I don't want to come off as a guy that's just looking to fight anybody, or I think everybody's against me. I think the world is against me, and sometimes it may be that way, or it may feel that way, and it's hard for me to get over that feeling of like, everybody's against me. Like, why does everybody here want to fight me? Like, some guys are probably just looking at you. They're not really meaning to fight, but like I have had that feeling of like, this guy keeps eyeballing me. Am I going to have to go over there and say something? And, it's felt that way to me. I'm a human just like everybody else. But I saw this video. It was Joe Rogan, and this is the last thing I'm going to say before I wrap it up. They were talking about how it's better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war. And I feel like that's very true. Like if you're a man, or if you're aspiring to be a man, or the best man that you can be, you have to be able to be calm in certain situations. You have to be able to logically think it through. Don't get into your emotional state. Stay in your mental, your mental state, or I can't think of the word right now, but not your emotional state, the logical state of mind. You got to be able to think about things and be like, okay, I'm not going to get all crazy and riled up just because this guy is being stupid and he's drunk. Try to separate yourself from the situation. And if it does happen, or it's something that needs to happen, or you encounter somebody that's like trying to threaten you, or somebody you care about, then yes, be prepared for that. Be ready to fight. Be ready to defend yourself and the ones that you care about. But don't always be looking for a fight, and don't be unprepared. Look into maybe some fighting, or try to train, or if you're a little bit smaller, try working out a little bit more, getting a little more physically intimidating. And this guy, he would say to me, he was like, you don't intimidate me, you don't scare me. The same guy at the bar, he said that to me, and I'm easily bigger than him, and I'm not trying to intimidate anybody. But I was like, I feel like that's more just talk coming from him to kind of reassure himself. And I can read people in situations that the way that he said it, felt like he was trying to reassure himself, because I know, like, if I look at you dead in the eyes, and if you're looking at me wrong or whatever, you'll back off, because that's intimidation. But anyway, I digress. So yeah, with that being said, I'm going to wrap it up here. Love yourself before anybody else. Thank you guys for checking out the videos. And thank you for that over 140 views on my last video. It blew my mind. I'm still in awe that happened. So love you guys, and I'll catch you in the next video.